Hey, this is NailBay96 and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to learn how to do a fill-in. Some people call it a backfill, some people call it a refill. So basically, I'm just rebalancing her nails after they're grown out. This set has been on for, I would say, about 3 weeks, going on 4. So she had a little bit of lifting. As you can see right now, I'm going to just start off with taking off the polish. And as I take off the polish, I want to make sure I get as much as the lifting of the nail as possible. So as I take off the gel polish, the shellac on top, the lifting acrylic as well. Only because it's a quicker process versus doing each step separately. And as you can see, as I take off the gel polish, not the gel polish, but as I take off the acrylic, I'm making sure that I am not using my carbon bit on the natural nail plate. I am only using this bit on the acrylic. And what I'm doing right now, I'm just thinning out the area where the lifting is, and I'm taking some nippers. And make sure you don't use your good nippers. Make sure it's just nippers that you really don't care about, that you just have specifically for lifting or, to remove jewels or, charms or whatever. Make sure that you take off the lifting acrylic as soft and as gentle as possible, because you do not want to damage the natural nail plate. That's like a no. That's something you do not want to do. And as you can see right here, I zoomed in so you can have a better picture of what I'm talking about as far as removing the lifting product. So I'm just going in that direction that the lifting is occurring. And then from there, I'm thinning out the acrylic in that area as thin as possible. And I'm going to take my nippers. And then it should be super easy to just peel off. If you feel like you got to pry it off or force it off, then you need to take a little bit more time to thin out the acrylic a little bit more before you go ahead in with your nippers to remove the product. This part is so important because it is essential to get all the lifting off as possible. You don't want to leave no room for water to get trapped under your nails, product, hair, anything. When you leave a air pocket between the extension and your natural nail, it's setting up a recipe for disaster. That's a no. Okay, so if you are wondering what you should take off and what you shouldn't take off, as you can see right here, I have pink acrylic on the nail. And you can see that in some areas, the acrylic looks a little whitish or almost clear. That is an indication that your product is lifting. So that is what you want to remove, so that when you lay your acrylic, you don't have any air pockets, any air bubbles, because it can cause greenies. And greenies is just bacteria growing underneath your nails. And if you don't handle the problem right away, it can lead to fungus. And that's something that you do not want. Fungus is such a headache. It's a natural. It changes the anatomy of your nail. It changes everything. It could change the way it looks. It could start looking deformed, and that's just a headache. You don't want that at all. So right here, I'm just etching up the nails, and I'm doing this at a gentle pace too. I'm at like 4 RPM, and basically I'm just making sure that I get rid of all of the dead skin around the nail plate so that it doesn't interfere with the adhesion of the primer and the acrylic. And as you see, I start on the acrylic part first, just to make sure that I go slower at a slower pace when it comes to the natural nail. So at this part, I'm just making sure the acrylic and the natural nail is blending together. So I'm also making sure there is no air pockets in between. And right here, you really want to make sure that you don't cause rings of fire. Rings of fire is basically going too deep into the natural nail plate, which causes lines and dents. So you just want to make sure that you do this as safe as possible and make sure that you're going at a low speed. Right now, I kicked it up a little bit, like to 5 RPM. And I'm just making sure that my client is comfortable. I talk to my client during the process, make sure nothing is hurting, nothing is burning. And when you're using a sanding bit, you want to make sure that you don't go in the one area too long. Let me reset that. You want to make sure that you're not staying in one spot for too long, because it can start to burn. It's like carpet burn. It's like when you rub against the carpet, and that's what it reminds me of. I don't know how it feels to anybody else, but that's just what it reminds me of. It's just the irritating feeling. So you just want to make sure that your client is comfortable and that you're properly doing what it takes, and for everybody to feel relaxed and safe. And when you're using a sander band, you also want to make sure that you have your nail bit as flat as possible, because if you go in at an angle, that's what causes rings of fire. Because if you slant the sanding bit, you're basically carving into the nail plate, and that's something you do not want to do, because if over time, if you keep causing trauma to the nail plate, you're gonna cause onycholysis. And onycholysis is the separation of the nail plate and the nail bed. The nail bed is your skin underneath your nail plate. Your nail plate is the actual nail that you see physically. So you don't want to cause separation in that, because anything could get trapped underneath. And like I said previously, that can cause fungus. So that's just something you don't want. You don't want to cause any type of trauma. It's just a liability. You want to make sure that you know what you're doing. Practice on yourself, practice on your friends, your trusted friends rather. And you just want to make sure you go slow, you don't rush the process, and that you're doing everything that it takes to do the steps correctly. So right here, I went in with some Swipe by Young Nails, and I'm dehydrating now, just to remove all of the dust, the residue, any oils on the nails. And I just want to make sure the nails are as dry as possible, that the acrylic can adhere to the natural nail plate as smooth as possible, to cause greater retention and less lifting. And at this point, I switched to the other hand to restart the whole process. I etch up the nails. I'm gonna, of course, repair that one nail that's missing. I'm going to cleanse the nail plate of dust. I'm going to go in with my dehydrator, and I'm going to go in with my primer. Everyone does nails different. As you continue to do nails, everyone has a different process. Everyone likes different products. Whatever works for you works for you. This is what works for me. I've been doing this for a minute, and it has been giving me 1 month plus retention with acrylic and when it comes to structure manicure. So it just works for me. I am open to learning different techniques when it comes to learning different primers and different methods and steps to dehydrate the natural nail to cause A1 retention. But for right now, this works for me. And so, yeah, so if you are looking for like a process to get good retention, I would say just try this out, see how you like it, and yeah, test out different methods. Everyone is different. All products are different. Test out different products, but also don't spend too much money on too many things at once. You want to make sure that you use what you have first before you test another product, unless the product is just straight trash. That's when you can go and, buy what you need to buy. But starting off, you want to make sure you do not want to spend too much money on the same thing. So right here, I am adding the acrylic. As you guys notice, the acrylic is super thin. Me personally, I like to do thinner nails. I like for my acrylic, my structure manicures to look more natural. They are thin, but they definitely have an apex. You always want to make sure your nails have an apex, and that's basically the structure, kind of sort of like the middle of the nail, so that breakage doesn't happen to support. Because as you know, as your nails grow, as they get longer, they do get heavier, and the heavier that they get, the more stronger that they need, which means the stronger the apex is. And also my client, she likes a more thinner natural nail. Every client is different, so you're going to learn that you're not going to be able to do each client's nails the same. Some people like their nails way thicker. Some people like their nails way thinner. But personally, in general, I like less product. Less is more. In some cases, you are going to have thicker nails, like when it comes to almond nails, when it comes to stiletto, since it has that point towards the end of the free edge. You want to make sure that apex is A1 and that they have no breakage. So right here, I am using a size 8 brush. I like a smaller brush, me personally, because you have more control over it. I use different brushes for different lengths of the nails and also different sizes of the nail beds, or the nail plates rather. If someone has a smaller nail plate, I will use a smaller brush, and vice versa. If somebody have a larger nail plate and wants longer nails, I will use a bigger brush. But right here, for my essential standard brush, I use a smaller brush, between an 8 to a 10 on a regular. So when I lay the acrylic, I want to make sure that my bead is not runny at all. You want to make sure that you have full control over your bead. It was kind of cold in the salon this day, so my beads were a little runny. Not too much that I couldn't handle, but it was definitely runny a little bit. I just went ahead, like if you do have a problem with runniness, you want to pick up your bead, and after you pick up your bead, you want to tap the back of your brush on the paper towel for a minute, just to let some of that monomer out of your brush, so it's not super wet. And then after you apply the bead, some people hold the bead on the brush before they apply it to the nail. It's all a preference. You can if you want to. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I did not shape the nails at all yet. And I didn't do that because my client did not want to lose any of her length. So being that she didn't want to lose any of her length, I shape at the last minute because I do not want to make her nails too short to the point that I ruined her length. So when you're laying your bead, you want to place it directly in the center. I am not a person that mastered the one bead method yet, so I do use multiple beads. Like I said, it's all a preference when it comes to doing nails, so you have to just do what works for you. And yeah, so when I'm laying a bead and once I'm forming the acrylic, I want to make sure that I'm not taking it off as I put it on. So right here, I'm filling in all the thin areas where it needs more acrylic. When applying a bead, you want to make sure that you're holding the nail downward so that the acrylic can flow and basically do the work for you, so you don't have to pat and swipe as much. And typically I use the 3-bead method. I go in at the part of the nail where the extension meets the natural nail first. Then I apply my apex bead, which is typically in the middle, and then I go in for the cuticle bead. I am going to put the bead right under the cuticle. Not directly right under, but I'm going to put it on top of my last bead, and then I'm going to push my cuticle bead towards my cuticle so that it's not causing flooding. Then I'm going to swipe on my side walls first, which is the side of the nails, and then I'm going to swipe in the middle to form that perfect apex and that perfect bead and structure. So right here, I'm just filling in the gaps of, any thin areas, any areas that I feel like needs more acrylic, and that's about it. So this is my first official video on YouTube. So I want to tell you guys a little bit about me. So my name is Deidre. I go by NailBay96 on all platforms. I have been doing nails for 3 going on 4 years officially this year. And I am out of Detroit, Michigan. I do nails in the Metro Detroit area. So if you are in Michigan and you're looking for a nail tech, I'm your girl. Hit me up. And I love all things about nails. Most importantly, I love helping people. I love educating people. And I love learning. So if I could be used to help people, that's like right up my alley. So that's what I want to cater my YouTube channel to do, is basically let my clients know that they're in good hands because I am properly educated when it comes to nails, and also to help out inspiring nail techs or nail techs that's been in the business for a minute and that's just, need a few tips. Everybody needs tips. I love learning. I can learn from anybody, and I never feel like I'm too good or I know it all and I could never learn. So yeah. Please make sure y'all keep in contact with me. I would love to see y'all in the next video. I got my big head in the way, excuse me. Please bear with me. This is my very first video. I'm not the best at editing, but I will get better, I promise. And I definitely want to help out as much as I can to the nail community. That's why my name is Nail Bay. I am a nail bay. I love nail girlies, all things nails, people that love nails. And I love the beauty industry in general. I just love the beauty community as one. Hopefully I didn't talk y'all ears off. Let me know how I did in the comments. Constructive criticism is needed to grow. So I would definitely take what you guys say into consideration so that I can improve. So this is going to conclude the YouTube video. Like, comment, and share. Please reach out to me if y'all have any questions on the products that I use, and see you in the next video.